Let's move on now to the final main topic today. And the final main topic today comes to us from Mitchell, who writes, "Hey, John, have you seen the new Chinese Avengers Endgame poster? I think it looks great. Plus, it has Valkerie. Perhaps more confirmation that she makes an appearance." All right, thanks a lot for the question, Mitchell. And yes, a brand new big things came out about Avengers Endgame in China. Number one, this new poster, and we'll talk about this poster in a second. I have some problems with it, and I think it's great, and I have some problems with it, and I think it's great. So we'll talk about that in a second. Anyway, so one of the big things that came out was that in China, Avengers Endgame is not going to open on April 26th. It's going to open on April 24th. So it's actually going to open a couple of days earlier in China than it's going to open here, which, hey, good for the Chinese movie fans, because quite often they have to wait a long time for movies to hit there that have already opened here. Right? Like, I think the first Deadpool just opened sometime this past year. So sometimes they have to wait a long time. So they're going to get it actually a couple of days early. Now, what this has everybody really excited about at this point, and what everybody seems to be talking about at this point, is the notion of worldwide opening weekend box office. Everybody's freaking out about this. Like, I'm getting tweets and messages from everybody saying, "John, did you hear now with Endgame opening in China early, it's going to be the same technical opening weekend, that its worldwide opening weekend could be $800 million. Can you imagine that record?" I'll be honest with you. It's meaningless. It's a meaningless record. It means nothing. I really don't care about its global opening weekend. Like, remember, the Captain Marvel thing came out and it made like 600 something million. I'm like, okay, that's nice. That's good. Good for it, but ultimately it doesn't mean that much. The reason worldwide opening weekend means nothing is because there's no constant. Like, when movies have opening weekend, and we just talk about the regular opening weekend box office, it's all an even playing field because it's only measuring the North American opening release, because it opens in North America at the same date, right? So you can compare it. But every movie opens in different countries at different times, and some movies will open in 5 countries on one weekend, some movies will open in 25 countries in one weekend, some movies will open in 35 countries in one weekend, the odd movie will open globally on one weekend, some movies will open, their first release will be in one country on one date, and their final release date in another country will be like 5 months after. So this whole notion of global, I know it's fun to talk about, and I know it's this big, impressive number, but talking about global, worldwide release numbers, it's not impressive because there's nothing comparable to it. Like, yay, movie X opened to 700 million worldwide, but compared to what? What are we comparing that to? Because none of the other movies opened in the exact same countries and the exact number of territories on the exact same weekend. Therefore, while it's kind of amazing to say, oh my God, you know, Avengers Endgame could open to 800 million worldwide. That's impressive sounding. But ultimately, it's kind of meaningless because there's no comparison. No other movie opens on the exact same date in the exact same number of territories to come up with that result. And unless you can do that, it's kind of meaningless. Now, what's more interesting to me is what is its domestic opening weekend going to be, because that becomes an apples to apples comparison, right? That becomes a comparison we can talk about. The worldwide number is great, and that's awesome, but ultimately it doesn't mean much because you can't compare it to anything. So, yay, 800 million, yay, but ultimately it doesn't mean much. What means a lot more to me is the domestic opening weekend box office and the final worldwide total. Those are the two numbers that mean something. Domestic opening weekend and final worldwide total. Those are the numbers I'm looking forward to, and you better believe both of those numbers are going to be damn impressive. Now, with that being said, let's now talk about this poster. Let me talk about first the thing that I love about this poster, this new Chinese poster that you guys have seen. It's what the artistic message of the poster is. You've got your surviving Avengers up top, and you've got those who need to be avenged, the dead, done in this shadowy silhouette kind of motif. To me, and again, you have Thanos just kind of this hovering background. The posters still have not really given much away as far as how involved will Thanos actually be in this movie. They've just kind of had him as this shadowy figure, almost like what he did in Infinity War is looming over them. Or he's in a lot of Endgame. I don't know. I've let you guys know that my starting assumption going into this movie is that Thanos actually doesn't play a big major role. Now, he very well may. There's a high probability that he does. I'm just saying my guess right now, my very, armchair quarterback guess is that he doesn't play that big of a role, but rather what he did plays a big role. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, the artistic target of this poster I love. It's beautiful. The idea of those who survived and those who have fallen in these shadowy silhouette kind of things versus those who survived in the color and all that kind of stuff. It's great. I love the artistic impression of the poster. On that level, I think the poster is great. But, and you guys know where I'm going with this, why do you have to have 25 people on a poster? Right? That's the thing that gets me, like even with the Star Wars, like the Force Awakens poster, the most recent Star Wars Episode 9 art, it's like, it's just, bleh, they just vomit up every single character. Now there's an artistic consistency here and I grant you that. But this poster, it didn't have to have Nebula on it. I like Nebula, but the poster doesn't need to have Nebula on it. I love Wong. Wong didn't need to be on the poster. I like Valkerie a lot, but Valkerie doesn't need to be on the poster. I love Okoye, but Okoye doesn't need to be on the poster. I love Don Cheadle as War Machine. Don Cheadle and War Machine didn't need to be on the poster. Now, I'll say Ant-Man does because he played a pretty key role. It looks like he plays a very key role in this film, so I'll give it that. But like right off the top of my head, there's like 5 or 6 characters off the top of my head. I'm like, you could have just removed them and it wouldn't have felt so overly busy of a poster. You know what I mean? Look, at the end of the day, the artistic merit of what they're going for and the imagery of the poster, I give it full marks for that. And because of that, I like the poster. But I would freaking love this poster if they just axed about 5 or 6 characters off it. Like you can even keep all the dark silhouettes on the bottom because you don't even see their faces. It's just the dark silhouettes of those that have fallen. I dig that. But on the top part, I still feel like you could have axed like 5 or 6 and it would have been a much better looking poster. Still, artistic merit's there. I think it's great, and I enjoy the poster, and I think it's wonderful. Just why this thing that everybody who even walks through a frame once, they got to be on the poster too. Hey, that coffee girl from scene 17.5 who delivered the coffee to Pepper Potts, put her on the poster. Put her on the poster. Like, I hate that trend. But full marks for the artistic direction of what it was going. So I'll give it that. So anyway, let me ask you guys the question then. What do you guys think about this Chinese poster for Endgame? I think the artistic direction is great. And also, what is it important to you when you hear these numbers about worldwide opening weekend? Let me try that again. Opening weekend box office. Do you think I'm underplaying it? Like, hey, look, I'm all for Marvel's success, but it's not a big deal to me, but maybe it is to you. Maybe you're thinking of a couple of things that I'm overlooking right now. Anyway, jump down in the comment section below and let me know your thoughts.